Hi, boys and girls. So here I am to read you chapter 12 of The Doll People. And the title of the chapter is The Dolls Go Visiting. And that, to me, seems like a really weird chapter after the end of chapter 11, where Tiffany and Annabelle were really trying to figure out what happened, why the writing in the journal changed and everything. So I'm curious about what happens in this chapter. Let's go. Annabelle and Tiffany were not able to go to the attic right away, of course. They knew they would have to plan such a trip carefully. I don't even know where the attic is, said Annabelle. You don't, said Tiffany. Annabelle shook her head. I've barely left my house, you know. Well, an attic is always upstairs somewhere, said Tiffany wisely. Somewhere above this floor? Probably. Or it could be at the back of this floor, but it wouldn't be downstairs. How are we ever going to convince our parents to let us go to the attic? Asked Annabelle. We could just say we're doing another exploration. We don't have to say exactly where we're going. Oh, that doesn't seem quite right. Besides, we're still in trouble for coming home late last time. Tiffany scrunched up her face. She gazed across the room at the Barbie camper. She could just see Uncle Doll sitting in it, staring at the ceiling. Barbie sat nearby, staring at nothing. Well, I'll think of something, said Tiffany. Anyway, I guess I better go home now. I'll see you tomorrow night, Annabelle. Maybe my family can come over to your house tomorrow night, said Annabelle brightly, since we missed our visit with you. The next morning, the moment Papa announced that the coast was clear, two things happened at once. Uncle Doll scrambled down the step stool and headed for the Barbie camper. And Annabelle said, Mama, could we go visit the fun crafts tonight? We didn't get to go before. Because you were in doll state, said Bobby gleefully. And we don't want to be rude. Last night, Tiffany asked me again when we're going to come over. Annabelle didn't mind bending the truth a little. Mama hesitated and hemmed and hawed and cleared her throat a couple of times, like she doesn't know what to say. But finally, Annabelle convinced her and Papa to go to the fun crafts. Nanny decided to stay behind with baby Betsy, which Annabelle thought was all right, but she was determined that Uncle Doll not miss out on the fun, so she paid him a visit at the camper. Please, 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 you have to come with us tonight, please, she said to Uncle Doll, who was lying on a lounge chair outside the camper. I really want you to come. It will be fun. You like Tiffany, I know you do, and you won't have to talk to Mama and Papa very much, okay? In the end, Uncle Doll agreed. Very crossly. Annabelle was thrilled. She couldn't wait to see the Fun Crafts house, and she had an idea about the attic that she wanted to discuss with Tiffany. And here is a picture of Uncle Doll in the chair and outside the camper and Annabelle talking to him. There you go. That night, the dolls waited until Kate and the Palmers were asleep. To Annabelle's relief, the captain was not in Kate's room. And so, the moment Papa announced that the coast was clear, Annabelle scrambled for the stool. She and Bobby and Uncle Doll started down. Travel safely, called Nanny, who stood at the edge of the parlor propping up baby Betsy. Right-o, replied Papa, as he and Mama made their way down the top step. Annabelle landed on the floor first and helped Bobby and Uncle Doll down. She put her finger to her lips and Bobby nodded. He knew they must be absolutely silent. Then Bobby reached up and took the flowers Mama was carrying. When everyone was safely on the floor, Annabelle and Uncle Doll led the way across Kate's bedroom. The dolls ran to the nearest wall and slid along it, facing into the room, until they reached the door. Then Annabelle peered and turned into the hallway. So here is a picture. You see how this is the doorway right around here? And there are the dolls all lined up. There's Annabelle and Uncle Doll and Mama and Papa and Bobby with the flowers. See how small they are? Annabelle saw no shining eyes. She heard no rumbling purr. So who wasn't there? Right, the captain. Nothing but darkness and quiet. Holding Uncle Doll's hand, she ran to Nora's room as fast as she could, her family close behind. At Nora's doorway, Annabelle stopped short, her heart pounding. She had a horrible feeling that when she peeked around the corner, she would find herself staring directly into the captain's face. But she knew that was silly. She had found that the things she actually worried about rarely happened. When bad things did happen, they took her by surprise. Annabelle marched boldly into Nora's room and gasped, There, in the glow of Nora's light, was the captain. And there were Dad Funcraft and Tiffany dancing from side to side in front of him. The dolls stiffened. They watched as the captain shot out a paw to try to catch Dad, and he dodged it. Annabelle let out a tiny screech. Tiffany looked up when she heard this, and the captain's paw nearly came down on her head. But she leapt out of the captain's reach, giggling. "Silly cat," she said. Then, "Hey, everybody, the dolls are here." Cringing, Annabelle glanced at Nora and saw that she was sleeping soundly, because you don't want to wake her up, right? Then she looked around the room for the Funcrafts house. There it was, on the floor, next to Nora's bed, pink and white, like an enormous plastic birthday cake. Do you think that Mama and Papa are not going to like the Funcrafts now because of what they saw Dad Funcraft and Tiffany doing? Like taking too many risks, and then maybe they're going to tell Annabelle that she can't play with Tiffany anymore? I wonder. Let's find out. Annabelle realized that she was looking at it from the side. The back was open, and furniture lay strewn amidst odd pieces of Nora's clothing, several farm animals, and a scattering of Legos. So again, Nora doesn't take as good of care of her dollhouse, does she? She has everything kind of mixed up and thrown around on the floor, and things not in the right rooms, probably. Extending from the back of the house. Oh, I'm going to go back and read that again. But here is the captain and Tiffany and her dad dancing around and everything like that. Wow. So they have to be about 4 inches tall, I think, to look that small next to a cat. So, what does it say on this last page? Extending from the back of the house was a pink stoned terrace with a shallow pool of dark liquid in the center. Nora's handiwork, Annabelle guessed. Grape soda, maybe? She peered around to the front. 4 windows, one upstairs, one downstairs on each side of the house, framed 2 tall white columns, between which was the front door, and above it a balcony. Annabelle was fascinated by the house, but the captain demanded her immediate attention. He was crouched between Annabelle and the house. In fact, he was between Annabelle and the rest of the room. "Maybe we should leave," Annabelle whispered to Bobby. But Tiffany turned then and called, "Come on in. Don't worry about the captain. He won't bother you. He just likes to play. He never catches us." "Well," Annabelle began. "Hello, welcome," said Mom Funcraft, waving as she sloshed across the patio. So the patio, there was like a little indentation, and Nora had filled it with some kind of liquid, like maybe grape soda. Ooh. "Let me get out of your way." She turned and dashed into Nora's closet. The captain tore after her, but he didn't fit through the mostly closed door, so he stuck his paw through the crack and batted at Mom. He couldn't reach her, though, and Annabelle could hear her laughing. "Isn't she something?" said Dad, beaming at his wife. Then, "Come on in," he said to the dolls. Annabelle didn't know what to say. She and her family huddled in the doorway. Tiffany approached them. "Really, don't be afraid of the captain. I promise he's just playing." From the closet came the sound of a scuffle and more laughter. Tiffany ignored it. "Why don't you go play with Bailey?" she said to Bobby. Bobby looked toward the closet. "I don't know." At that moment, Uncle Doll stepped hesitatingly into Nora's room. He looked from the captain to the Funcrafts dream house, back to the captain. Then he turned and looked behind him into the dark hallway. Annabelle could see how nervous he was. "Uncle Doll?" she started to say, but Uncle Doll had begun to run. Not into the dark hallway, where he would have had to make the long trip back to Kate's room by himself. Instead, he was dashing across Nora's floor, heading for the safety of the dream house. The captain turned and saw him. The next thing Annabelle knew, her uncle was clamped between the captain's teeth. "Uncle Doll!" she shrieked. The captain leapt onto Nora's bed. The dolls and the Funcrafts stared. For several long, horrible seconds, they watched as the captain shook his prize, like cats do when they catch something. Then Papa Doll tore into Nora's room and began jumping up and down. He waved his arms in the air. "Captain! Oh, Captain!" he shouted. And not one single doll told him to keep his voice down. "Captain!" called Papa again. The captain stopped shaking Uncle Doll. He looked at Papa, then jumped to the floor, where Uncle Doll tumbled from his mouth. Instantly, the captain snatched up Papa and ran under Nora's bed. Mama fainted. In the confusion, Dad Funcraft slid Mama Doll out of the doorway, and the dolls and the Funcrafts gathered around her, but Annabelle kept her eye on Captain, and she was the only one who saw him streak through the doorway, Papa dangling from his mouth, and disappear down the hall. "Uh-oh," said Annabelle, and everyone turned to look at her. And here is the picture. So if you look closely at the Captain up on the bed, he's got Uncle Doll in his mouth. Then Papa is on the floor waving his arms by himself, and everyone else is over here in this corner watching it all happen. Whoa. That was not a very good visit to the Funcrafts, was it? Chapter 13 is called Where's Papa? We'll do more later. I hope you guys are enjoying the story, and I just want to keep reading right now. It's so good. All right, I'll see you later.